and welcome into close to the. We got a huge week this week at the Palmetto. Everybody's been counting down for this week for months. Just can't wait for this week to see Brooks Koepka rock the course, and so anyway, we're gonna have some fun tonight. We got the crew. Unfortunately, Justin is not able to. He's on the road. He might be piping in. We do have some of his plays and in fades, and so we're going to be able to pop those in there for you guys. Anyway, the two heroes right now. Guru, how you doing, man?
Can we just move to Torrey Pines and just be done with it all?
Right.
Well, I was being sarcastic. We're just, this is a speed bump, man.
Is there something going on next week, or?
No, I mean, I don't know what's going on. I just know that it's Ridgeland, South Carolina. You know, it's like the pit stop between Savannah and Hilton Head in the middle of nowhere. What I can tell you about Ridgeland, it's like you get into South Carolina I-95 and like it bottlenecks there, and it's like a 20-minute, 30-minute traffic jam. You know, a minimum most of the time if you catch it. It's just awful, but. It looks like an amazing course. I'm glad we're here. It just sucks that the rest of the world isn't here either, but we'll have a good time with the few folks that are here.
Yeah. And you know what? Let's just do it. Let's make the most of it. Hey, you know what? This is actually the kind of tournament I like to. I actually kind of do well in some of these. I'm on a slump. I haven't. I got to sell plasma down at the station next to the Greyhound station downtown.
Betting golf's hard. It's hard.
It is, man. This cold streak sucks, man.
No time like this week to get off the schneid, though.
That's right. What we're going to get off the schneid, and I'm going to blow it all on Torrey Pines next week.
Beautiful.
So, yeah, this is the KFT Masters. Okay.
I'll work with that.
I get it. I love it. All right, so Nick, why don't you talk about this course? I'm sure you've probably dug into it quite a bit.
Yeah, so let's start with the model and kind of go sideways with it. So it's long, but the nice thing about the weather down south is that it always, I think it's 76 and some change, but I don't think it'll play anywhere near the 76 just because it's hot, it's humid, it's going to rain. I don't think it'll be fast and firm, or at least not like it's supposed to be. So I wouldn't be shocked if they had to move some stuff up, or, things just, it leveled out the playing field a bit, and the scores will probably be a little lower than they want. And taking that into consideration, it's having some extra length off the tee is not going to hurt, but I don't think it's going to be this great advantage that everybody thinks it is. And so the way I built the model this week was more, approach is always going to be pretty hot and heavy in the model for sure, but I think the around the green game is going to probably play more importance, and then even as far as the putting will probably be up there a little bit too. That's not to say that you won't have to be off the tee a little bit and make your marks there for sure, but I think you'll be surprised at some of the folks that climb up the leaderboard and make a dent. Form wise, again, still looking about 45 to 60 days out, kind of a short term, looking about 90 to 100, sort of that mid range, and then went deep into last fall, kind of a long term aspect of it. Now, never having played here before, ended up looking at a deeper, comps list. So took some Fazio courses. There's really not a whole lot, but you could look at Corrales and you can look at Quail Hollow, like a lot of folks have done. But I think the big place to look is probably going to be location comps. So I think he was a pretty good comp. I think Sea Island's a pretty good comp. I know a lot of people are hot and heavy on Pinehurst, but the thing about Pinehurst is we haven't played in a couple of years, and I have a hard time just giving extra points to folks that have played a course, 5-6 years ago that's not going to come up in the rotation again until 2024. So I kind of looked at it, but I kind of minimized it. So for me, comps are courses that, generally somebody's probably played within the last maybe 12 months, maybe 24 months if you have to go that far back. But most of the time, I look for courses that are kind of in the regular rotation. As far as the stats aspect of it, looked at the handful of courses that were done on the Champion Bermuda, and there's only 5 of them, and that is going to be Sedgefield for the Wyndham. It's going to be St. Jude for Southwind for St. Jude. It's going to be Sanderson for Country Club of Jackson, and I am blanking on the rest, but just to give you a few, but the other details are actually in the model. And I did put a round 1, round 2 component in there just to give it a little variance. So I look for folks that, have generally a bit of a, Thursday, Friday bump. Hopefully they can make the cut and get in there. And, there are definitely some lower tier golfers that, showed up. So that's kind of nice, especially considering the field we're playing with. And then as far as the other cursory stats, there's some really long par fours.
There is.
And they're on the front. I mean, it's like 1,500. It's like 1,580 or something over 3 holes. I mean, you've got 12 shots to get 1,500 yards. I mean, good luck. So par fours are actually up there quite a bit, but I geared it more towards the longer links versus just a general overall stroke gain for par fours. I took a look at the 3s. I took a look at the 5s. It's and I keep going back to Kiowa because it's the one, and you could even, if you can see the picture behind me, it's kind of an aerial shot, but there's just sand and sand everywhere. You've got some trees in the middle, you've got some water, but basically, if you can keep it in play, great. Otherwise, you're going to have to scramble. You're going to have some sort of, be able to be a little depth with, some of the other clubs in your bag, and the way the fairways are cut, greens are cut, from what I understand, you can probably putt some of this stuff from 30, 40 yards off the green, and hopefully you can get it kind of close too. So it'll be an interesting challenge all the way around. I'm not convinced everybody at the top is here just to, there's some guys, the model likes a lot of the Englishmen this week. Go figure. We'll see how many of them we play. But, there's a lot of guys, there's a whole lot of guys at the top that I'm just not sure why they're here or how well they're going to do. And then you take the US Open, qualifying, into consideration, how many people are really kind of gassed. So I alluded to it on, Twitter, I kind of think this screams like the RSM last fall, when Streb won. And as far as DraftKings go, the lineup was 42,000 and some change, but you had one 8,000 guy, you had two 7,000 guys, and you had 3 6,000 guys. I'm not saying to leave 7,500 on the table, but if you don't have a good feeling about somebody at the top, then don't be shy about going a little lower. I mean, I'll probably sprinkle some guys at the top, but for the most part, I think a pretty balanced build's the way to go, because I think under 65 is just, hot garbage. And so, anything from, if you can find a couple of guys between 65 and 60, 69 or 7,000, great. Otherwise, I mean, I think you take the 1 or 2 guys, maybe in the 9K range, and just try to balance it out the best you can, trying to stay above 7,000.
Wow, that's cool. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to take your top 30 and make that my player pool.
Done.
And do 150 lineup, $1 each.
I'm down. Let's see how it goes.
I have had my best weeks just taking your top 30 and making that my player pool, and just go with it. And so
have yourself a weekend, man. Let's roll with this.
Let's do this shit.
Let's trust the model.
Yeah, man.
Let's see how it goes.
But however, save a couple bucks for next week now.
Yeah. Dave, what do you think? I mean, Drew, I'm a pro. What do you think about this course? I know you haven't played it, have you?
No, I've not. It's actually relatively new. I think it was 2017 or 2018. It was designed. I think one of they had like 2 billionaire founders. Robert McNair, one of them, who he's deceased now, but he was the owner of the Houston Texans. But like Nick said, it's as simple as, man, the front nine's a beast. You have a 645 par 5, and you have 2 par 4s that are over 520 yards. It's a big boy golf course. To Nick's point as well, lots of sand. I'm not sure, Nick, and maybe I honestly don't. Are they playing these as like waste areas? Or are they considering bunkers? Is it more of the Kiowa thing where they're waste area? I don't know. I actually don't know.
No, I from what I hear, it's like Kiowa. You can just play it. I mean, it's not like waste area.
That makes sense.
Where it goes, just take advantage
sandy
of it.
areas, not penalty areas. Sandy areas, which they'll mention on the broadcast 500 times.
I'm with you there. I'm with you there, man. I think there are some good 6 and 7K guys with some pretty good approach ratings, and I like Brooks a lot. So we'll get into it in a minute. Just give us a few. We'll get there.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're about to get deep into this.
Yeah,
right
and
now,
we can roll right into it. But yeah, Fazio design. I mean, I don't think it's going to be an easy golf course. I really don't. I don't see them guys tearing it up completely. It just, as we've touched on this previously, we've had multiple first year golf courses on tour this year, and it's like you tend to think that they're going to set it up somewhat easy, at least to start, just to kind of see what they have, and then they can go from there. So I again,
yeah, remind the guys that
about
played
the
the
course.
concession that.
Yep. So, well, yeah, we can jump right into it, man.
Yeah, that concession course took some by surprise. And so, anyway, all right, well, let's just do that, man. Let's just jump right into it. Let's go into 10Ks. I'll start with Justin, and that way we could here's the funny thing. There's only 4 10Ks. And so we just have to pick 3, and it's basically who you fading. And so Justin went ahead and played Tyrrell Hatton, Fitzpatrick, and obviously Fitzpatrick's number 1 in our model. And by the way, the model will be out tomorrow on the website, and we'll be promoting it on Twitter, as well as a profile of a contender or whatever whatever Guru can come up with.
Yeah,
this week.
We'll flip something out. I don't know what it'll be yet, but yeah, we'll get there.
And he is also going to play Brooks Koepka, and he is fading DJ, and he's fading DJ because of the money. 11-4. Highest price guy out there. His recent form does not warrant anything close to 11-4 in being the highest paid player. And so that's where Justin is. Nick, how does that line up with you?
So I really only did 2, but give me a minute. I'll walk into.
I did too.
I'll walk into the third one. So I don't normally play Brooks, but honestly, out of the guys at the top, even though he's second, like the way Fitzpatrick and Brooks kind of came together, I probably have a slight lean towards Brooks, but based on the margin of error, I mean, they're both really solid number 1s. But, take a look at Brooks. He got second at the PGA, he got second at concession, he won the Waste Management, and then he got 38th at Genesis. Those are his last 4 tourneys. And I think Riv is actually a pretty good comp. And then the way the model came together with the comps, Brooks was 4th overall. He was one of the 3 golfers in the field that was in the top 10% of, the 7 major categories, which is a good thing. The mark that I used to compare everybody, I actually went 28 rounds just because I didn't like where 24 stopped for a lot of people. So I added a couple more just to get one more tourney in. So in Brooks's case, the last 28, he's 3rd off the tee, 4th in approach, 20th with the putter, and 31st around the green. And for him, I thought that was a pretty good combination, just considering, where he's been and what you think some of his, shortcomings may be or may not be. Last 24 rounds, 6th in driving distance, 2nd greens and reg, 1st in birdies, and 1st in sand saves. So if he comes motivated, I think really the motivation is going to be if he gets off to a good enough start, I think he'll hang around. If he just screws the pooch on Thursday, then that's a whole different ball game. So we'll hope that he shoots something decent Thursday and keeps on going. And then just because Fitzpatrick was tied, yeah, like I'm gonna, the 2 main guys for me were Fitzpatrick and Brooks, like all day long. Fitzpatrick, last 28, he is 2nd off the tee, 15th around the green, and 7th with the putter. He's also another one of those 3 guys that was in the top 10% of the 7 categories used. Last 24 rounds, 8th in driving accuracy, 4th in birdies, 22nd in bogeys, 27th greens and reg. And then with the comps, he was 2nd overall. And then, just look at the last couple tourneys for him that, just marked down. He was 23rd at the PGA. He was 4th at the Heritage, 34th at the Masters, 9th at the Players, all kind of in that same, location, aspect of things. The other guy I would play would be probably Hatton, but I wasn't as thrilled by Hatton just because I've seen what he's done the last couple of tourneys, and it just seems like he gets off to a rough start and then he's playing catch up. But usually his catch up rounds are pretty good, and he's due to win one down here. I don't want to put him in that same, he's only going to win in Florida. I think he can win elsewhere in the United States, and this is probably as good a shot as he'll have, especially with the weaker field. So that leaves DJ as a fade for me. So the form was kind of blah. 48th at the Valspar, 13th at the Heritage, which was probably better than a lot of us thought he would do. 48th at the Players, 54th, at the concession. Last 28 rounds, what stuck out, he was 68th with the putter. But when you look at the Champion Bermuda, and the way I kind of doctored it up, the model had him 115th with the putter. So it kind of goes in line with the recent, putting a little bit. So I think if he can, handle the putter pretty well, then I think he might just blow everybody away and might turn out to be another Houston kind of thing when he just gets up. He may not win, but he may get up 2nd or something. But I'm going to take my chances and fade him, especially at that price, since I prefer, the $300 savings with Brooks, and I've got Brooks higher up in the model. But last 24, 92nd in driving accuracy, 122 in pars, and 43rd greens and reg, which is actually the lowest of the 4 guys. 43rd is pretty good, but when everybody else is pushing 20 or better, 43 stands out a little bit. So DJs may fade, and I'm going to ride with the other 3, but I'm going to more heavily ride with Brooks and Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Hey, Pro, what are you at on 10Ks?
Yeah, so I love Tyrrell Hatton. To kind of some of the points you were actually making, Nick, recently he's gotten off to bad starts, but he pounds back with 65s. He's actually somewhat in contention in golf tournaments. I think he's due to win. I think his game does transfer. I actually like him into next week. I'm sure we'll talk about that, but his problem is around the greens. I mean, he's 174th in strokes gained, but to your point, he's a good ball striker. I think it's for me, he's a guy I'm going to play, especially at 10,200. And I only have 2, and whatever. I didn't want to pick third guy. I'm probably not playing many in this range anyway. But I'm going to go with Brooks Koepka again. Seems to be, if not the guy you pick or one of the guys up there. You worry about the knee slightly, but I think the longer Brooks doesn't play, I think the better and better things you would think are going to be. Of course, we saw the way he played at Kiowa, although Phil got his ass. But I'll go with Brooks Koepka as well. As much as I love everything about the model, I'm fading Matt Fitzpatrick. Woo! And the reason for me is recent form. I mean, he's missed 2 out of his last 3 cuts. His ball striking hasn't been very good this year. We know he saved himself with the putter. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to fade Matt Fitzpatrick. That's just the way I'm feeling. It stings. I played him recently. He's kind of been ass. I've been watching it. He's been on my teams. So I'm going to go against Matt Fitzpatrick this week. Dustin Johnson, although I didn't fade him, I wouldn't necessarily pick him either. Again, to Nick's point, what motivation are these guys bringing in this week? Are, like, I know when guys play the round before the Masters, right? Like Phil likes to play the week before, typically the week before majors. And they'll just go out there and hit shots that they're planning on hitting at Augusta National, right? It's literally kind of what they do at that golf course. This golf course, nobody really knows. So I don't know if you can necessarily bring that perspective in as a player where you're just going to go out and just try to hit shots you're going to need at Torrey Pines when it's kind of a golf course you don't really know. But I know a lot of guys do like to specifically go out the week before, and play shots they think they would need around Augusta National. So yeah, it's what kind of motivation is in this week, and right, how many guys are ready to hop on a PJ out to Torrey.
Yeah, yeah, the motivation thing is the thing that just intrigues me, and because I mean, I'm in on Fitzpatrick just because the model's in on Fitzpatrick, and I feel like you're right though, Pro. I mean, his recent form is, he's burned a few guys, us included, and but I do like how he sets up for this course, and so I am going to go ahead and play that guy. What I like most about him in my model, the fact that, I went with approach around the green, strokes gained par 5, strokes gained putting, ball striking, distance, birdie or better, sand saves, and proximity at 200 plus, based on the length you guys already talked about. And Fitzpatrick is 4th in par 5 scoring, strokes gained. He's 4th in putting, strokes gained. He's 6th in birdie or better, and 13th in around the greens, which you're going to need to be good. The only thing that's hurting him right now in the last 24 rounds is his actual approach. He's 105th in the field. That's the one thing that makes me nervous, and I think you alluded to that. So, but he is going to go in for me because I got a bigger fade, and I am going to go with Brooks in that same model. Brooks is number 1 in ball striking, number 2 in par 5. He's number 3 in birdie or better, number 3 in proximity at 200 plus, and he's number 6 in approach. His worst category is 29th, and that's around the greens. Everything else is top 20 or better, and he's an emphatic number 1 in this field based on the last 24 rounds. So I am definitely playing Brooks Koepka. As a matter of fact, the motivation thing keeps bugging me, though. You guys are right. I mean,
Hey, Brooks doesn't win normal events. He doesn't win PGA events. He just wins majors.
I get it, man. I get
But
it.
he doesn't win stuff on the West Coast. I mean, you take Phoenix, and then he has some success in Texas, but you take those out. Everything else is east of the Mississippi. I think he'll fall flat on his ass next week. That's not to say he won't play. Maybe he'll get in top 20 or something.
So
yeah.
he'll win. He'll win
here. He'll go out there and he'll get top 20. I just think about what happened last week with Bryson, and the whole world seemed to be backing on Brooks, and he's got this good feeling going on, and I think he's going to go out there feeling good about himself. And I think that's I don't know, man. I just like the dude.
Bryson was kicking people out of the tournament. He was asking kicking them out of the tournament.
It was hilarious. It was hilarious.
I think the beer thing was great, man. Like,
it was amazing. It was epic. You know what? I have a feeling that was an agency play.
That's that PIP program play right there.
Yeah. And then I am going to play Terrell Hatton at 10.2. He's the lowest of all the guys, and I actually like Terrell Hatton this week. He's number 2 in ball strike in his field. He's number 1 in proximity at 200. He's number 3 in approach, and 14th in birdie or better. And so his worst category is around the green, and he's 80th. And so I like Terrell Hatton, especially at that price point. And I'm fading DJ. Once again, it's about the money. 11-4. I mean, I can't go there. And so I'm fading DJ. It would have been a sweep on a fade DJ fade. I'm kind of glad it's not, though, because boy, if he goes out and kicks everybody's ass by 10 strokes, we're gonna look like a bunch of dumbasses.
DJ does that to you, though. DJ
can. He can go out and win by 10 strokes.
He does that shit to you. He makes you look silly.
Exactly. And so, but you know what? You threw Fitz in there. So it's going to be fun to watch. But you know what? Honestly, I'm not going to have much of these guys at all. And I think 8K is going to win this tournament. So we'll get to that. Anyway, let's jump to 9K. Pro, we'll start with you, man.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Ian Poulter. Ian Poulter has had a nice year. 3rd in the Charles Schwab. We know his short game. Again, it's tough to what you put in. I think Ian Poulter hits the ball far enough to be able to compete at a golf course like this. Again, to Guru's point earlier, this golf course, the fairways are going to run out 40, 50 yards for you. I mean, it's just going to happen. It's way, even if they get some rain, it's still going to play that way. So I'll take Ian Poulter. I'll take Garrett Higo, one of your European tour guys there, Nick. Is there really, if we talk about it, a guy that's had a better year outside of him? We know I think he's 4th overall in putting on the European tour. He's as hot as a player. He's under the radar. I like him in this range. I will take him. And then I'm going to roll the dice with Sung J M. And what the hell do you want me to say, right? What do you want me to say? We don't ever know what Sung J M is going to bring into a golf tournament recently. He had a streak where he was playing really, really well. I just, in this category, I could not pass him up for, say, Tommy Fleetwood or a guy like that. I'm going to roll with Sung J M. I'm going to fade Harris English.
It's no Sea Island Mafia, huh?
Listen, it's been a kind of a roller coaster year for Harris, to be honest with you. He won the Century Tournament of Champions. His games was kind of peaking at that point. It's kind of gone down. It seems to be back on the way up. He's just my guy I'm going against this week. That's where I'm at with it. He's really been off the tee is where his game's kind of just been depleted as of when he was playing really, really well. When he was playing really, really well, he was hitting it in the fairway, and we know he has distance, but recently his strokes getting off the tee have been everywhere, and he's just kind of slipping in that aspect. I'm going to fade him. He's going to be in those wasty sand areas, is what I'm thinking, and we'll see what happens, but that's what I'm going with.
Yeah, that's a big fade considering he is number 5 in the model. That's a big fade, buddy. But you know what? You're right. What has he done lately?
Well,
he's had 2
semesters.
Been okay
the last 2 starts, but it was a miscut. It's just I don't know. It's just my feeling this week. A lot of this I have to take to the gut and just what I feel is going to happen. But it's hard because we're talking about a golf course that we really don't know what the hell is going to happen. happen. So
Yeah,
I might look like an ass, and then Nick's going to be, sending me texts like, "Hey, Dick, way to go against the model. You look like this now," and I don't want that, right? I really don't want
see that from Nick. He's not going to do that, but he might think it.
Right.
Speaking of Nick, we'll get to Nick in just a second. I will say that in the 9K range, Justin did play Fleetwood at 9.5, and he's also playing Poulter at 9.2, and so we got 2 Poulters, and he's playing Kazire at 9.1, and surprise, surprise, he's fading English. So you guys are pretty lockstep on that one, except for the Kazire M.
Don't feel great about it, but here we are.
There we are. He's a degenerate gambler. He knows what he's doing. So so let's see what happens on an English fade. Guru, what about you? What do you got in 9K?
Just touching English for a second. I mean, somebody had to be 5th, but that just shows you how bad the field is when he hasn't really done anything, and everything I put in there he still spit out 5th. That's just, and he's priced that way. Like, I wouldn't pay $9,900 for him, so I can't blame you for fading him. So I'm gonna play Sanjay. He's numero uno.
Welcome home,
in the 9K range for me. Yeah, it's been a long time, but it's just time to play. Last 28, he's 7th off the tee, 19th around the green, and 17th with the putter. That's a pretty lethal, combination for somebody that's known to actually have a pretty good approach game, and that's actually what's behind the 8 ball a little bit. So if everything else is working, if he can find some irons, then I think he ought to be pretty good. Last 24, he's 18th in driving accuracy, 38th in birdies, 34th in pars, 8th in bogeys. It's a pretty good, recent combination, I think. Model, he is the 3rd of the 3 golfers in the top 10% of the field in the 7 major categories, so that's a bonus. And the fact that they're all stacked at the top, I think that's a good sign. Recent form that I liked: 17th at the PGA, 29th at the Valspar, 13th at the Heritage, and 8th at the Honda. And then the comps, just as we don't have a course history, he actually ranked out as 9th. So I think, looking at the overall picture, it makes some sense. I mean, 97 is still a little scary, but I'll take my chances with the 97 and go from there. I flipped a coin on the next one, but I'm gonna play the other member of the Sea Island Mafia. I'm gonna play Patton Kazire as well at 91. So he is 8th in the model. So last 28 rounds, he is 8th with the putter and 9th with the approach game, which is a pretty decent combination. Last 24, he is 1st in birdies, 45th in bogeys, 50th in driving distance, 34th in sand saves, and 29th greens and reg. Pretty decent combination.
Yeah.
With the Champion Bermuda, as far as the putter goes, he basically ranked out number 10 according to the model. So that's a pretty good combination, and hopefully I assume he's played the course a couple of times. I think, if he can just keep going with it, I think the putter will keep him alive, and hopefully the rest of his game, carries him. But recent form: 3rd at the Schwab, 3rd at the Byron Nelson. And then I looked at, Kohala as a comp, but he got 58th there, a little tougher, but, tougher field, but maybe slightly tougher course, but easier field. So I think he'll probably, shoot somewhere between 3rd and 58th, hopefully closer to 3rd. And then he got 60th at the Valspar. So that is the second one. And then, like my good absent friend, I'm also going to play Tommy Fleetwood. I'm going to trust the model one way or another, and I figured everybody was going to be on Poulter, and I get it. I have nothing bad to say about Ian Poulter at all. I love the fact that Fitzpatrick, Tyrrell Hatton, and Ian Poulter are all in the same group on Thursday and Friday. I think that's probably the only group to watch, and just park it there, and we'll see how it goes. But Fleetwood, last 28 rounds, he is 16th approach and 1st around the green. So if he can just keep his baseline average off the tee and find a little bit of luck with the putter, I think he'll be all right. Last 24 rounds, he is 38th in birdies, 50th in pars, 45th in bogeys, 54th in driving distance, 50th greens and reg. Slightly above average. Just need him to keep doing that. In this field, I think that'll carry pretty far. 40th comps. Recent form: 14th at the Wells Fargo, 46th at the Masters, 10th at the API. He's going to win that one eventually, by the way. Just keep betting him. It may take 10 years, but he'll win the Arnold Primal eventually. I mean, that may be his first win, but he'll get there. And then 5th in a match play. So I think he's still turning the corner. I don't know if he's quite there yet, but I'll take a stab again that I'm going to be a week early and hopefully catch him. Then the fade was really interesting because there's only so many ways you could go in here. So it hurts my heart, but I'm going to fade Garrick Higo. I think the 9,000 is pretty steep. He's still ranked out 29th in the model, right? 29th? No.
Yep.
Yeah, 29th in the model, which is, it's a tough to fade a guy, but compared to everybody else, he was just down there and it made sense. He hits it a ton. He can, he putt lights out. I just think the rest of his game, Kiowa is an interesting thing. He got his, butt kicked a little bit, but everybody did. But then he had, a couple of good rounds once he figured it out. I'm assuming that, it'll take him a little while to get going here and he'll figure it out. But for that kind of price, I don't have the luxury of, waiting around like I did when he was only, 7,000 and some change at the PGA, 9,000. I need you to pretty much, hit it from go. Comps, he checked out at 64th, and then the last 28 rounds, and this will actually include, some of the work over in Euro, but when you compare to the field, he's still 90th around the green and 86th with the approach, even though he's lights out with, off the tee and lights off with the putter. But I'll take a shot that the approach game and the around the green game catch up to him. So he goes my fade. I'm going to play Fleetwood. I'm going to play Sanjay, and I'm going to play Patton Kizzire.
This is crazy. Okay, cool. I really like all those plays because all four of mine are the exact same. All four of them. Sungjae M, Patton Kizzire, and Tommy Fleetwood. Yes, I'm playing Tommy Fleetwood. Biggest shocker of the year. And then I'm fading Higo. I just hadn't seen Higo do it against PGA players. And when he did, he didn't quite fare well. And he might go out there and putt great. Huge greens, he'll have a good, 3-putt avoidance will be important for him. I like him, but I don't like him in the 9K range. He hasn't shown it on the PGA for me for 9K range. So, but I'm right there. I don't need to go into all the details. I will bring this up on Kizzire in my model. Kizzire in my model in 24 weeks, 24 rounds, based on the weights that I gave, is number one in approach in this field. He's number one in putting in this field, and he's number one in birdie or better in this field. His only glaring weakness in this field right now, based on around the green at 129. He's like not good. So we're hoping he hits the damn greens. That's what I'm hoping.
Well, and get it close enough and put
right.
the 80 footers in, and we'll call it a day.
Exactly, because he's got the approach, he's got the putting, and he is really he's lights out on birdie or better, and even in proximity, that 200 yard, he's 11th in the field, and so I just love him, and I love the fact that that the model has him so high. And my model has him that high, and so I'm thrilled to death to have him in there because I don't play him much, and so but that's 4 for 4 in the same order, and so I find that pretty interesting. I'll go ahead and jump into my 8Ks, and then we'll go to pro 8Ks. I start with Lucas Glover. He's number three in my model. Lucas Glover, I know, and he's going to be. And let me go back to Higo. I've heard a lot of people hyping Higo. I mean, a ton, and so I have a feeling his ownership is going to be probably really high, and everybody thinking they're gonna sneak one or steal one by playing a guy that not many people probably know about in the mainstream. But I'll tell you, there's a lot of sharps playing this game now. Lucas Glover. 5th around the greens, 15th par 5s, 19th in ball striking. He's 8th in birdie or better, 14th in sand saves, which I really like. And so, $8,600. He seems like he should be around 9K based on his numbers. He does know this course, so I've got him in the 8K range. I've also got Norton. The model really like Norton. I looked a lot deeper at $8,900. I also like him at 28. 20 to 1, and so but Norton really looks good for this course. As a matter of fact, I've got him 7th around the green, 8th in par 5 strokes gained, 22nd in sand saves. He's 12th in putting, and he's in the top 40, top 50 or better in every single category. And so I really like Norton in the 8K range. And my last guy in the 8K range is none other than Varner. I got burned by him a little bit a week ago. But Varner really, really graded out high in the model for me, and he finished 13th in Guru's model. But yeah, 13th in approach, 12th around the green, 8th in ball striking, 14th in birdie or better, number 1 in proximity at 200 yards. Oh no, that's no, 101. That's his weakness. In 200-yard proximity. So we'll see what happens there. But really, really, really strong numbers all the way across the board, except for the proximity number. And I think he might be okay. So anyway, those are my 3 plays, and my fade is just the easiest fade ever, and that's going to be Kevin Kisner at 8.7. I think this course is going to gobble him up. I don't think he's going to make many birdies on those long par 4s. And I think the par 5s are even too big for him. And I just have a hard time paying almost $9,000 for a guy that's one of the shortest on tour. And you guys brought it up a little while ago, man. They may set this course up to swallow some of these guys. And so Kisner at 8.7, that's a little high for me. So he's my fade for 8K. What about you, Pro?
Yeah, so I'll start out with Sneds, man. I know the model likes Sneds. All right, hey, I'm on board with Sneds now. I'm back in good graces here. It's been a challenging year for him overall. Recently, it's been better. 3 top 20s in his last 5 starts. He's a player that excels in the approach to green. I just think things are starting to turn around for Snedeker. It's been nice to see because we know he rolls the rock well with that little pop stroke everybody loves to see. So I'm going to go with Sneds. I'm also going to go with Keith Mitchell. And Keith Mitchell's had some decent recent form. I mean, he was third at the Wells Fargo. He's kind of a guy that I feel like a lot of the guys I picked this week are kind of mixed bag, right? It's tough to pinpoint what they'll do. They'll either – I don't want to say shit the bed, but that's possibly something that can happen. But I think Keith Mitchell is one that will hang around. Again, but some weeks are up and down for him. But clearly he hits the ball far enough. He's got the game to play, to win around here. We'll just see what happens. And then Johnny Vegas, who
nice
to Nick's point, and you made a great point earlier about the Monday qualifiers, or the U.S. Open qualifiers rather. And Johnny Vegas was part of that. Right. And so there could be some fatigue there. That's certainly a worrisome thing. But he's great off the tee. He's had a decent year. He's a guy you see pop up on leaderboards in kind of these second tier PGA Tour events, right? Where we don't, it's the Puerto Rico or the Dominican or some of the smaller events. And I think his game's been pretty damn solid lately. So we're going to go with Johnny Vegas. I'm also going to fade Kiz as much as I hate to do it. I mean, he's missed the last four of the last 5 cuts. The game just hasn't been there. He's outside of putting. He's over 100th in strokes gained in every category.
Right.
It just hasn't been a good year for him. So I will also, with you, fade Kiz.
Cool. And Guru, what do you got there in 8K?
Well, yeah. So I'll play Lucas Glover. I've been on him for a few weeks, and I don't see any reason not to play a guy that, knows the course from South Carolina, has the recent stats to back it, has some pretty decent form. I mean, I don't have to beat the dead horse, but yeah, he's one of the few guys that's played the course, likes the course, knows the course. So that's a check. I also am going to play, who am I going to go second with? I am going to play, Alex Norton. For a lot of the same reasons you touched on, I like Alex Norton as well. Last 28, just what sticks out, 33rd off the tee, 14th around the green, and 12th with the putter. I seem to find a lot of the guys that are long enough, have the short game, and maybe their approach game isn't elite, but it should be enough to get the job done here, I think. Last 24, 5th in bogeys, 29th driving distance, 32nd driving accuracy, 18th pars, 34th birdies. That checked out. The form's good. He got 13th last week at the Memorial, 21st at the Byron Nelson, 21st at Valspar, 25th at Heritage. I mean, he's been pretty consistent. The comps ranked him out for me in the model at 39th. And then the other stats, with the proximity and the scrambling and par 4s and all that stuff, he checked out at 13th. So Noren and Glover were two, pretty quick guesses for me in the 8K range. Then I'm going to play Sneds as my third. I know he, played for the open qualifying, but he, grinded out a couple of pretty good rounds. And so I'm not too worried about it because I think this is one of the few chances he's got to really, bag a pretty good score here, so to speak, in the field. I think he lines up pretty well. Form-wise, 50th at the Schwab, 17th at the Byron Nelson, 11th at the Valspar, 42nd at the Heritage, 6th at Valero. I mean, he's been pretty consistent. I think he's probably turned that corner. So hopefully you can, still catch him on an upswing. And I think he's probably still got another good showing ahead of him. He's kind of the reverse. He is, 23rd with the approach, 16th around the green, and 36th with the putter. So, the longer course thing, the rest of his game, he's usually been able to kind of make up for it a little bit. And being that, he's one of those guys that seems to play the Heritages and the Sea Islands and the things around this, I think he'll be okay. He ranked out as the #1 champion Bermuda putter in the model overall. So I think the putter will carry him, pretty good. Last 24, 43rd driving accuracy, 41st greens and reg, 5th in birdies, 28th in bogeys. So the fade was the tough one for me, just because there's a lot of interesting people in the 8K range. And honestly, I tend to agree with you. I wouldn't be shocked at all if the winner came from the 8K range. But everybody and their mom seems to be on Keith Mitchell, and I think they're just forcing it. There always seems to be a hot guy every week that people get on. And knowing my track record with fades, so this probably means
he's in the top 5. He's got a top 5.
Yeah, you're probably safe, my friend. But I'm gonna fade Killer Keith. Yeah, I am. I mean, last 28, he's 89th around the green, 74th with the putter. That's just kind of scary to me. Last 24 rounds, he's 152nd in pars, 152nd in pars, 102nd in bogeys, 105 with the driving accuracy, and 132nd in sand saves. That's just kind of a not awesome combination. You take the Wells Fargo out, he missed the cut at the Schwab, 26th at the Byron Nelson, 69th at the Valspar, 53rd at the Honda, missed the cut at the Players, and 17th at the Valero. He can get a top 20. I don't care, but yeah, I'm going to fade him.
All right. By the way, Snedeker, when was the last time he was top 8 in your model?
Never.
Hey, now, be nice to Sneds. There was probably a time.
He's a Vandy boy from Nashville.
I mean, he's a nice gentleman. I was just watching something on the golf channel before I came here. He was holding an event for college players or something.
He's Opie Taylor on the course.
I mean, he's playing with Kazire. He's playing with Sanjay. I mean, yeah, I'm going to take all 3 of them. I mean, let's go.
That's going to be a fun one. I will say Justin picked a Snedeker also.
Yes,
so 3 of you guys with Sneds. He also had Varner, and he had a Grace, but Grace backed out. And so, but his fade was shit the pan. So that's
disrespectful.
It is.
I will purposely not go out of my way to fade CT Pan just the respect purposes. He won't ever really be in my lineups, but I will not fade him.
Okay. Well, he's fading him and at 8.1, and so that's his fade. And so anyway, so we have a couple of Varners, we have 3 Snedekers, a couple of Glovers and Norins, and so it's going to be interesting. We have a Mitchell play and a Mitchell fade. It's going to be fun to watch the 8Ks and see what happens. That brings us to the 7Ks. I'll go ahead and bring up Justin. He said Glover was his third. I apologize for that. Glover was Justin's third, not Grace. I just can't read. And so Glover at 8.6. And so I definitely get that. I got that right here. You're covered, buddy. Sorry about that. All right, so his 7Ks, he's got Luke List at 7.9. He's got JT Poston at 7.6. And he's got the one and only, the uncovered hero from many, many weeks ago that Guru was on before anybody knew, Whaley at 7.7. So those are Justin's top 3. And he's fading Ben on. Big Ben. Boy, what do you got against Big Ben there, Justin? Come on, man. He's a social media king.
Just the level of disrespect, I swear.
Yeah, Justin. You know what? He's going to disrespect all these players and not even show up.
Yeah, that's what he does, man. Damn it, Justin.
He's making us look bad. He's making me look bad by reading it off his bad fades. So, anyway, all right, Pro. What do you got for 7K?
I'm going to go with Luke List as well. Again, this is part of my mixed bag thing I'm going with this week. Luke List is a mixed bag, right? We know he's fantastic off the tee. Everything else, I really don't want to talk about because I'm picking it. So we'll just leave the other stuff out of the window here. He has 3 top 10s on the year. It's just, again, he's a guy you don't really know what you're getting from. I will roll with Luke List. Again, this is my notes literally say at the end, he's a good driver. That's it. So we're still rolling Luke List. And then I'm going to go with, this is my favorite. This 7K range I love. I'm going to go Rafa Cabrera Bello.
Oh, I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Yeah. He's played decently. His last 3 tournaments has been solid. Earlier in the year, he takes second in Abu Dhabi across the pond. Way across the pond, right? Very far across it. I like him this week. He's just it's been kind of another mixed bag year for him. It seems his form, I've seen him on leaderboards lately. I'm rolling with him. I'm also going to go with Jason Duffner.
Alabama strong. All right.
Here's the deal, man. It's been better for him. The last 2 tournaments, he's played well. His form seems to be coming around. He had top 40 at Muirfield. It's kind of been a terrible year for him. His putting's just been awful. I do like the way that he's been playing, though. I'm going out with Duff Daddy, boys, and I will die on the Duff Daddy hill this week.
Oh, boy.
He's for sure making the cut. And then I'm going to fade Peter Uline, and that's easy. I don't really need to tell you guys. He's everything in strokes gained, which I take a lot of. Everything's over 100 in every category. He's missed his last 2 starts. It's kind of the low-hanging fruit for me. It was an easy one. I'm going to go ahead and fade Peter Uline. So Luke List, Rafa Cabrera Bello, and Duff Daddy are my plays, and I'm going to fade Peter Uline.
Way to go out on a limb on that fade.
Yeah, I know. I was really just stepping out there, wanting to expose myself.
Everybody's changing all their lineups right now.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Guru, what do you got in 7K?
I'm going to play Luke List too. I mean, the primary reason to play him is he holds the course record here, so I'm going to play him.
Yeah, I mean, you can't not play Luke List.
I mean, yeah, the form is shaky as hell. So you look at his last 16 starts. He's missed 8 cuts, but the 8 he's made, 5 of them have been top 30 or better. So I'm going to assume that he likes the place with the course record, and then he's going to end up in that top 30 aspect of things, and maybe he'll shoot, top 15 or better or something like that. Comps have him 6th in the model, so I think it's I think he likes the place. Last 28 rounds, 12th off the tee, 20th in approach, and 46th around the green. He just can't putt, but maybe he can putt here. That's what we're going to go for.
At least he did one time.
At least
he did one time.
That's my story, and that's what I'm going with. I'm sticking to it.
Can I get a 2-time? Yeah. Last 24, 3rd in driving distance, 13th green to reg, 48th in birdies. I'm going to play Pat Perez too. He is last 8 starts, he's made 7 cuts. 6 of the 7 have been top 50 or better, so the form's pretty good. Comps check him out at 34th. Last 28 rounds, he's 8th around the green and 30th with the putter. Last 24 rounds, he's 27th in driving accuracy, 8th greens and reg, 47th sand saves, 34th in birdies, 22nd in bogeys. And then the other stats, the proximity, the scrambling, all that good stuff. He checks out as number 8 in the model, so that was a pretty good combination. I figured since I went short in the initially in the 10Ks, and I'll give you 2 really fast. I jumped on 2 more, so I went 4 in the 7Ks. I jumped on Whaley again too. I mean, I got to stick with my boy since I've been riding him this long.
Yep.
He's got 9 consecutive top 50s or better, and he's got 4 consecutive top 30s or better. Model checks him out 12th in the other stats, and then the last 28 rounds, he is 30th off the tee, 36th in approach, 30th around the green, and 22nd with the putter. Then I took David Lipsky. He's the other guy. He's 34th in the model. Yeah, so interesting. So older guy, but not really older, but he's seasoned, we'll say. But he's played Euro, he's played some KFT, he's all over. So last 15 starts, he's made the cut 12 times, but 9 of the 12 have been top 40s. So year to date KFT, he's 12th in scoring, 41st in putting, 26th in total driving, and 46th greens and reg. And then the last 28 rounds on the overall, he's 43rd strokes gained total. So I think the value's there for a pretty good, 7K,
grinder.
To do some,
Grinder,
to show up and probably, pop a top 40 or something for 7K guys. So just because I'm not really looking to dip in the sixes, and I probably won't get as high in the, upper end as I want to. So the more 7K guys I could find. So yeah, Lipsky's one to watch, I think, for sure.
Wow, I like that play. That's pretty cool.
Oh, let me give you a fade really fast.
Yeah.
I'm going to fade another South African. I'm going to fade Wilco Nienaber. Yeah, that's me taking the low-hanging fruit. So it's interesting because
that's fruit's lower than my fruit. That fruit was below mine.
Come on.
It is.
Was below mine.
It was on the
Who?
It was on the ground. I just picked it up. I mean, he's like the love child of like Bryson and Cam Champ. The problem is that I think he's probably gonna end up being probably closer to Bryson than Champ. The problem is he's playing worse than Champ right now. He can hit it a ton. So Bryson averages I don't know, I think it's 320 or something ridiculous right now on the tour here. But over Euro side, the kid averages the same distance as Bryson. I mean, he hits it a mile. Problem is, when you look at his last 28 rounds, he's 126th off the tee. He's 133rd in approach, and he's 89th with the putter.
He hits it a mile, and he's 126 off the tee. So where does he hit it? What is he? Other continents?
It's 100. You go 50 yards offline, and then he goes another 150 yards offline. I mean,
are you talking about Wilco Nina?
Yeah.
Well, you can't fade that guy.
No, he certainly can.
I can because it was the easiest guy in the 7K range to fade. See, it's so easy, it's causing me to fade out. I mean, so if you look at 45 career starts, right? So he's missed the cut 15 times, and he's only had 5 inside the top 10. So the other 25 starts, he's in between 11th and, missing the cut. He could show up and do something. That's fine. He could hit it a ton. But, I mean, his first big start over here, I think he'll do exactly what Higo did at, the PGA. He'll show up. He'll probably have one good round if he can make the cut and end up at the bottom. I think he's an interesting guy to watch because most of his starts have been on, the Euro minor tour, the Euro equivalent of, the KFT. But I mean, he hits it a ton. I mean, he's going to get up there. He's going to win something. He won something on the Challenge Tour a couple weeks ago. But I mean, his form is all spotty. But hell, Cam Champs won twice. But after the win, he just faded into. He's going to win again. He's just going to show up 18 months from now and win another random tourney. This kid will be the same way.
It's just surprising that he is in the 7K range.
It's surprising that he was only 109th. Considering how bad his strokes gain stats are, I think he should have been lower than that. So he should be thankful he's only 109.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so my 7K range is going to be similar to you guys. I got Luke List. As a matter of fact, I think Luke List, besides Hatton and Koepka, are the consensus for all 4. And so Luke List, I don't need to go into why. I mean, you covered all of it. I also am playing Whaley at 7.7. Obviously, the reasons look good. The model looks good. And then I'm playing Ben Martin. And I'm playing Ben Martin mostly because the show I did last night with Andy convinced me to play Ben Martin. He's pretty persuasive with his numbers and stats, and I can't sit here.
Patrick, my guy Patrick, like Ben Martin as well.
Yeah, and so I did a little digging, and considering that he's $7,600, I mean he's right there in the top 30 in multiple categories, including proximity, including ball striking, including par 5 strokes gained. I mean, he's 25th in my model. And so Ben Martin's in there for me at $7,600, and there was a whole lot of other great data points that Andy pointed out that I just can't rattle off, but he had me like, okay, I'm in. And so I'm playing him, and then I'm fading Sepp Straka. He's 118th in approach in this field. He's 81st around the greens. I will give him credit. He is 9th in par fives, and he's 8th in proximity at 200. But other than that, he's barely in the top. He's not in the top 30 in anything else, based on my weights in my categories. And so at 70, he's close to the 8,000 range. And so I just don't see it for him this week. And so I'm fading Sepp Straka, which is going to take us to our 6K value plays. And thank God we don't have to play many of these guys. I only had 2 that I could even write down. And literally, technically, it should have only been 1. I forced myself to write a second one down. I went with Hank Lebioda. The model really liked Hank Lebioda. My model liked Hank Lebioda. Andy liked Hank Lebioda. And Hank Lebioda, and I just like saying it.
Keep going. Say it again.
Think about that. I mean, in my model, he's number 2 in approach. He's number 2 in proximity at 200. And he's also 9th in ball striking. That's pretty damn good for a $6,900 player. And I've seen a lot of good write-ups on him. And then I look at the model, and the model kind of likes him too. And so, for a 6K guy, he's the one I like. And then I also got John Pack in there at 6.9, and nothing special, but he is 11th in proximity. He's 24th in ball striking. He's 21st in par fives, and he's 33rd in approach. Those aren't bad for a 6K guy. He's 52nd in birdie or better, 58th in sand saves. And so, you got to give me a guy that's right there in the top 50 in 7 of 9 categories. His worst category is putting at 115. But once again, who knows what's going to happen with these giant greens? So give me John Pack if you had to give me another 6K player.
All right.
Guru, what do you got? 6. You like to finish up. Let's let Pro go.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm up.
6K.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Tyler Mccumber.
Nice.
It's been somewhat of an up and down season, although recently he's had 2 top 25s in his last 6 starts in the 6K range. I like it. The other guys I'm going to go with is kind of – I'm going to go with Padraig Harrington. And here's the reasons why I'm going to go with Padraig Harrington.
You should show the man some respect.
Listen, yes, absolutely. Did you know he finished 4th at Kiawah? Do you guys remember that?
Did he?
4th.
Yeah.
You know what he did? That's right.
Yeah. And I think my boy Nick was saying that somewhat of a comp would be Kiawah based off the course and the sandy areas. So I'm going to go with my guy Potty. And then I'm going to go with Hank, just like you guys. I'm going with Hank. 2 top 20s last 3 starts in the 6K range. I think he's kind of like the shoe-in. I mean, it's based off the model, based off of form, everything. He's going to be my third. So I'm going to go with Hank, Mccumber, and Patty Harrison.
Ryder Cup here. I mean, hey, got what you got to do. For Harrington, don't hate it. What did Justin land on?
Justin landed on Hank Lebioda. He likes Lebioda.
Hank.
He also landed on a guy that I was on earlier this year, Cam Percy. And then he finished up with, and all 3 of these guys are 6'9". Putnam. And so Putnam, Lebioda, and Percy. 6K value ranges for Justin.
Yeah, 6K wasn't fun for anybody.
Let's hear the Guru shell game.
The shell game. I like it. So, I'll just kind of start at the top of the model and work my way down. So Lebioda makes sense. Big thing with him, the way I drew up the comps, he was 12th overall. You've hit a lot of the form numbers. You hit a lot of the stats numbers. No sense in beating it up, but he was a play for me. John Ho was next. He was 28th, and he's 6,800. Yeah, exactly. Just another guy I need to putt. But if you look at his last 28 rounds, he's 34th off the tee, 49th in approach, and 12th around the green. So if I can just get a putter, please. But the comps had him 10th overall. Form's not fantastic, but I'm going to bank on the what he's done with the strokes gained, and I'm going to bank on the comps because I try to put a lot of thought into it. So there's two. I'm going to tail Justin because I came up with Andrew Putnam again. He's been somebody I've been on and off for a couple of weeks now. The form is just god awful, but statistically it kind of makes some sense. 26 in approach, 15th with the putter, last 28 rounds. The models got him as the 6th best putter in the field on the Champion Bermuda, so that's got to carry some weight. The other stats, I had him 11th. And just looking at his last 24 rounds, he was 17th in sand saves, 19th in pars, 22nd in bogeys, 61st in driving accuracy. He won't kill you. He just needs to put it in the right place, maybe get a little positive momentum going, and we'll go from there. And then I've got two more. I'm going to take Chase Seifert. He was 39th in the model, 6,500. You take the 3 straight miscuts out of the equation before that, 42nd at the Heritage, 44th at the Valero, 18th at the Corrales, which is a Fazio course. So I'm going to play that angle a little bit and we'll see how it goes. 3rd at the Honda. Last 28 rounds, 62nd off the tee, 27th in approach, 54th with the putter. Nothing spectacular. It's just kind of solid, middle of the road. Hopefully it shows up. Models got him 25th champion putter in the field and then 17th in the other stats. I won't bore you with the last 24 rounds, but they're slightly above average and check out. Then a little further down the board, I'm going to play a little bit of a hunch, and I'm going to play a little back class maybe. He is 82nd in the model, and I'm going to play some Ches Reavie. Main reason I'm going to play Ches is because he looked pretty freaking awesome with the U.S. Open qualifying. I'm sure he's played that course a bunch of times, but, that looks pretty good. And then diving into it a little bit, last 28 rounds, he's 38th off the tee and 43rd with the approach. Last 24 rounds, he's 4th in driving accuracy and 38th in pars. So I'd like to think maybe some positive momentum can kind of carry him forward. And I think he's getting back. I'm not saying he's going to suddenly come back and be a $9,000 golfer tomorrow, but the 6,000 plus he's at right now seems awfully cheap, and you could do a whole lot worse in that range. So Ches, Seifert, Lebioda, whoever the hell else we talked about. Yeah. And there you go.
Hey, I got a quick question before we go on to some outrights, or we go to the optimal lineup here. My biggest surprise for tonight is Pro not playing Richie Werenski, and he's 25th in the model.
I know.
It's the highest he's ever been ranked in the model, and you're not playing him.
I know. Listen, I should be ashamed. I struggled this week, to be honest.
I mean, I already wrote the damn thing down.
Yeah, it was one of those things where I was like, damn, I just don't know what I like. I did like the 8K range, but everything else, like the 6K range, was just absolute throw it up in the air. What do you come up with? And so
miscut.
Yeah. It's gonna be weird. I'm excited to see what happens, but you're right. I owe Richie and his family an apology on this show right now. I apologize.
You might want to tweet that out, but anyway. All right, let's get to the optimal lineup, which is a hot mess.
I don't even know where to start with, other than like I couldn't have dreamed these 6 guys in a combination in any other universe other than this one, I guess. But Fitzpatrick was number 1 in the model, so I was thankful that he checked out to be in the optimal. I know sometimes the number 2 guy shows up over the number 1, but being lower priced than Brooks by 700, it made sense. So Fitzpatrick is number 1, and he is 10,400. Sanjayam is 3rd in the model, and he is in the optimal. He's 9,700. Brant Snedeker is 8th in the model. He's 8,400. Pat Perez is 12th in the model. He is 7,700. Hank Lebioda is 26th in the model. He is 6,900. And John Huh is 6,800 and 28th in the model. That gives you 49,900 with a savings of $100 at a projected points total of 570.1. It's a little higher than the last couple of weeks, the way it checks out, but considering just the hodgepodge of delicious goodness in this field from about the 8,000 range down, I'll take it and run with it. I wouldn't be shocked at all if that was really low, and in the end, the number turned out to be north of 650 or something. But, I think in the end, I think you probably need one guy at the top, pick your favorite, whoever it is, and then just pepper the guys that you like in the middle and try to avoid going too low. And I think in the end, that's really what the model did. And I agree with what it's trying to do. I don't know that it's necessarily got the right guys, but I do like the guys it put in there because I can understand. I mean, hell, I built the model, so I understand why they showed up the way they did. But you could certainly, use it as a starting point and, kind of build something similar if there's a guy or two in there you don't like. But it's probably when I'm going to play for sure. And I think Fitzpatrick and I'm, just because they profile out pretty similar over the last 28 rounds, are probably two guys that'll probably be pretty heavy in my core. And then I'll probably rotate the rest around. But I don't trust a whole lot of guys in the field, but those are two that I do trust. So they'll probably be higher owned in my core than normal. And I'm still going to play probably equally as heavy as I do, just because I think this is a week people are going to play less. And I think there's advantage to be gained if you feel like you have an edge of some sort. And I feel like the model gives me and anybody else that uses it an edge. So we'll see how it goes.
Nice. I'm going to play a little variation of it, but I just don't like playing Perez. I don't like him. And so I'm taking him out. And has burned me so many times. But you know what? I'm going to be all around that. I'm going to play that base with M, Sneds, and Fitzpatrick for sure, and Leviota. And that's going to give me some fun stuff to play with. But anyway, what about some outrights? You guys got some outrights you want to share?
Yeah, I'll go ahead. I like Keith Mitchell 40-1, Sneds 50-1, Luke List 55-1, and Rafa Cabrera Bayo at 80-1.
Wow, you're going all in on big numbers. I like it.
Very nice, very nice.
Your lowest bet, your 40-1 is your.
I mean, I wanted to take Haddon, but I think it was like 11-1 or something.
Yeah, and that's why I don't want to take Brooks at 9.
Yeah, it's like
you can't do that.
I just tried to I was like, I'll float up to the higher numbers. I throw a few bucks on it. We'll see what happens.
Well, I haven't locked any of mine in, but my real bets. I locked in my what the hell bets with Ben Martin, Vincent Whaley, and I bet another guy that for some reason came really high in my model. I didn't even talk about him, and I'm going to ask Guru. I'm going to put you on the spot. What do you think about Davis Thompson?
I remember you asking me about him way back at the RSM, and I didn't like him as much at the RSM just because I took him as an amateur, and I know we played the course there a bunch of times, and I don't recall him doing all that spectacular. But he's coming out now, and this is his first tourney. So being from around here, I tend to think he's probably another one of those guys that's probably played the course a couple of times. And being his first one out, I think that he probably wants to show up and show up well, and he'll probably would have had more people at the RSM, but I'm going to do the complete opposite of probably what I told you at the RSM. Like here, I would probably play him just because I think that the field here is, on paper, it's probably stronger, but I feel like it's weaker. So I think he's a better play here than there. So I like him. I don't have a problem taking an outright stab on him or anything like that. Top 20, top 40, whatever works for you.
I love him in the top 40 market for sure. But at 200-1, I mean,
how can you not in this field? I mean, as our good friend Ryan said, it's the KFT Masters. So find a 200-1 guy and roll with it. And if he's your guy, let's do it.
Absolutely. And so I he's kind of my wild ass dart throws along with Whaley and Ben Martin. And I'm going to be working on my legit picks tonight, and we'll try to get our consensuses out tomorrow or later tonight, and then share some of those tweets tomorrow. But I didn't get any outrights from Justin. He'll be sharing his after we post ours, and so that's a show thing. Any other interesting bets you're looking at, Guru? Wait, we still got to go with your outrights.
No, it's okay. I'll run through mine really quick. So I locked in Poulter and Norton both at 28. I think I could have got him better if I had shopped around, but was feeling super lazy, didn't care. But I think the odds, they're still pretty good. I took Kazar at 46.5, Sneds at 55. I took Pat Perez at 80. Martin Laird at 85, and then I kept riding the Whaley train at 110. So that's what I have for now.
Awesome.
Riding the Whaley train.
Yeah, I haven't really had time to even look at anything, and so I was able to get home in time tonight to get this show in, and I'm going to start looking a lot more at the books. I'm going to get my my top 30 of the Guru model going for my player pool, and see what that does for me. And anyway, I look forward to the model coming out tomorrow, and I look forward to putting it out there. Let's just get a real quick U.S. Open. Who you liking already? You got any? I know you've been grinding already. Who do you really like, Guru and Pro? We'll go with you, Guru.
Put me on the spot. Karma's a funny thing, so I'm gonna assume that Jon Rahm comes back and just keeps that 18 under going again. So I'll ride Rahm again. Or I should say, I will assume he comes back from his little break and he has everything clicking because he likes the West Coast. You know, Torrey's okay for him. If I don't take Rahm, then I think Xander gets it done. But you put a gun to my head, Rahm's my first choice.
Wow. And Xander. What about you, Pro?
Rahm. Yep, 100%.
Yep, I'm on Colin Morikawa.
That's fair. I'm all in. I feel like, listen, Jon Rahm's, I believe, won at Torrey. Yes, I'm 100% sure he's won at Torrey. Yeah. And this is, I'm all in on Jon Rahm. I will never fault anybody ever for picking Colin Morikawa in anything.
Well, he's not going to be in that thick ass rough. He's going to be on the fairway, and that's what I'm looking for. That rough at Torrey is going to be pretty high.
It'll be fun.
But that's my early look. Obviously, I got a lot of work to do, and I got a lot of listening to do from Guru and from other folks.
Ryan in the comments says, Phil, let's go.
Oh my God,
with you, man, let's do this.
Oh, geez, that would be insufferable. But I would love to watch all the social media.
The greatest thing ever.
Oh, it would be. It would be. I don't know if it would be the greatest thing ever.
On one side, U.S. Open on the other, riding the golf cart.
Can you imagine Phil holding and then completing the Grand Slam, because the U.S. Open completes the Grand Slam for Phil. I'm all here for it. Let's roll.
And everybody say he could only do it when Tiger was out, which they've been saying for the rest of all of his career. So anyway, well, hey guys, great show. Appreciate it. Look forward to tomorrow. We're gonna go ahead and clock out of here, and we'll be putting everything updates tomorrow. If you need anything, reach out to Guru, DM, Pro, Hammerjack, Justin. You know who we are. Any final thoughts, boys?
That's it, man.
Like, subscribe, leave a winner on YouTube, and check the weather.
Guru, you should be doing this for me. Yeah, check the weather report. Please like, subscribe this video. It helps us out. It also lets us know what we're doing good, what we're doing bad. Tell us what you think. And who's going to win this week? If you believe it's going to be Josh Teeter, put him down there. If you believe it's going to be Aaron Baddeley, put him down there. And if he wins, you're going to get a free picture, autographed picture of that player. And so get it on there. Let us know who's going to win this thing. And it's probably going to be Brooks Koepka. But if not, you might get it. Whoever's first with Brooks is probably going to win this thing. Anyway, guys, great show. Thanks a lot. We'll see you on the next time.
Did you get all that? If not, make sure you head over to hammercast.com, subscribe, and join the Hammer Nation. Until next time, keep grinding.